What if I told you that your brain is like a guided missile, a machine that locks onto a target and finds a way to reach it no matter what? Sounds wild, right? But here's the kicker. That missile doesn't care if the target is success or failure, happiness or misery. It just obeys the orders you feed it. That's the big idea behind the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And once you understand how this works, you'll see that the way you think about yourself literally shapes everything in your life. So, let's dive into this. Because by the end, you'll have a toolkit to rewire how you see yourself, and more importantly, how you live your life. Here's where it all starts: your self-image. Think about it. Every single person carries around a mental blueprint of who they think they are. If that blueprint says you're shy, you'll act shy. If it says you're a failure, you'll find ways to mess things up. It's like an internal thermostat that keeps dragging you back to your set point, no matter what you do on the outside. Maxwell Maltz saw this firsthand as a plastic surgeon. He'd change someone's face, fix a scar, give them the nose they always wanted, and some patients walked out completely transformed, confident, and happy. But others, they looked different on the outside, yet inside they were the same. They still felt ugly. They still felt broken. That's when Maltz realized the real surgery people needed wasn't on their face. It was on their self-image. And here's the truth. If you want new results, you don't start with willpower. You start with rewriting the way you see yourself. So here's something you can try right now. Write down how you currently describe yourself. Be brutally honest. Then flip it. Write down who you want to be. The confident version, the bold version, the successful version. And every single day, take one tiny action that matches that new identity. Because once you shift the blueprint, everything else follows. Now, here's the really exciting part. Your brain comes with what Maltz called the success mechanism. Imagine your mind as a GPS system. You type in the destination, and it does everything it can to get you there. If you get off track, it doesn't quit. It just recalculates and keeps going. That's exactly how your brain works. Think about the first time you rode a bike. You didn't nail it on the first try. You wobbled, you fell, you oversteered, you corrected. And with every mistake, your brain was recalibrating until you found balance. That's the success mechanism at work. It's built to guide you, but only if you actually give it a target. If you never set goals, if you never decide what you want, then your brain just drifts aimlessly. So let me ask you this. What's your target right now? Not some vague idea like, I want to be happy or I want to be rich. I'm talking crystal clear. What exactly do you want? Your brain needs that clarity because missiles only work when launched. Write it down. Imagine it vividly, because once the destination is locked in, your brain will start moving you toward it in ways you don't even notice. Now, let's talk about imagination, because here's a wild fact. Your brain can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. That means every time you rehearse success in your mind, your nervous system is practicing it as if it actually happened. Athletes know this. Pilots know this. Even surgeons use it. Maltz found that athletes who mentally rehearsed their moves improved almost as much as those who physically trained. That's how powerful imagination is. So here's a practical tip. Before a big event, whether it's a meeting, a date, or a speech, close your eyes and run the scene in your head. See yourself calm, confident, performing exactly how you want. Feel it, hear it, Imagine the outcome. Do this daily, and your mind begins to accept it as reality. But here's the catch. Don't rehearse failure. Every time you replay that embarrassing mistake in your head, you're programming yourself to repeat it. Direct your imagination like a movie director, because the movie you play in your head today becomes the reality you live tomorrow. Now, let's face the big one, failure. What if I told you there's no such thing as failure, only feedback? Think about that. Every time you mess up, every rejection, every mistake, it's just your success mechanism collecting data, like a guided missile correcting its course. But most of us treat failure like a dead end. We say, I failed, I'm not good enough, and we quit. That's like a missile shutting down the moment it goes off course. Here's the reframe Maltz gives us. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Edison didn't fail 10,000 times. He learned 10,000 ways that didn't work until he found one that did. So here's what you do. Next time you fail, pause and ask, what did this teach me? What adjustment do I need to make? If you treat mistakes as tuition for success, suddenly failure isn't scary anymore. It's fuel. And here's something counterintuitive. Sometimes the harder you try, the worse you perform. Ever notice that? A golfer squeezing the club too tightly, a singer straining their voice, a student panicking before a test. When you force it, you choke. That's why Maltz emphasized the power of relaxation. When you let go, when you trust your success mechanism, you perform at your best. This is what athletes call the zone, what musicians call flow. So here's a quick trick. Before anything stressful, stop and breathe deeply. Relax your muscles. Say to yourself, I'm calm, I'm capable. I've done this before. It takes the pressure off. Performance isn't about forcing, it's about allowing. Now let's talk about happiness. Most people think happiness is something you chase, something that comes after you succeed. Once I get that job, once I make that money, once I find that person, then I'll be happy. But Maltz flips the script. He says happiness isn't the result, it's the cause. Your brain actually works better when you're already in a positive state. Happiness sharpens your memory, your focus, your creativity. Misery shuts it all down. So, how do you practice happiness? Start simple. Every night, write down 3 small wins from the day. They don't have to be big. Maybe you went to the gym. Maybe you finished a task. Maybe you made someone smile. Train your brain to notice progress. Second, smile. Yes, even if it feels fake. Your body sends signals back to your brain, and a smile triggers positive chemistry. Third, change your words. Replace I have to with I get to. Instead of I have to go to work, say I get to go to work. That one tiny shift rewires your perspective. Happiness is not an event, it's a habit. Now, here's something really powerful. Most of the limits you believe about yourself are nothing more than hypnosis. Think about it. As a kid, maybe someone told you you're shy, or you're lazy, or you'll never be good at math. Over time, you accepted it, and now you live it as if it's fact. But here's the truth. Those aren't facts. They're suggestions, and suggestions can be rejected. So ask yourself right now, what belief am I carrying that isn't even mine? Who told me I wasn't capable? Who told me I wasn't enough? Challenge it, question it, replace it. Instead of I can't, try I'm learning. Instead of I'm not confident, try I'm becoming more confident every day. You don't have to be hypnotized by lies anymore. And here's a life changer: forgiveness. You know what drains more energy than anything else? Resentment. Carrying anger is like holding a hot coal, waiting to throw it at someone. But in the meantime, you're burning yourself. Maltz says forgiveness is not about excusing others. It's about setting yourself free. So here's a practice. Write a letter to someone who hurt you. Don't send it, just write it. Get it out of your system. Then forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you do. And don't forget to forgive yourself too. Guilt is like quicksand. It traps you in the past. But forgiveness clears the slate. It's the reset button your brain needs to move forward. Now let's look at creativity. Have you ever noticed how your best ideas come when you're not trying? In the shower, on a walk, just before falling asleep. That's your subconscious at work. Maltz says your creative imagination is like a genius working behind the scenes, but only if you let it breathe. If you grind nonstop, you strangle it. So here's what you do. Stop forcing solutions. Take breaks. Go for walks. Let your mind wander and keep a notebook handy because ideas will sneak up on you. Trust your subconscious. Give it the problem, then step back and let it cook. Creativity isn't something you push, it's something you allow. And finally, who's writing your life story? Most people live by old scripts, childhood programming, society's expectations, old failures. But what if you took the pen back? What if you wrote your own story? Here's an exercise. Write your autobiography, but from the future. Imagine it's 10 years from now, and you're looking back at the life you've built. What do you see? Who did you become? What did you achieve? That story becomes your compass. Then every day ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now part of my story or someone else's? Because here's the truth. When you write the script, you control the ending. So what's the big takeaway here? Psycho-Cybernetics isn't just a book. It's a manual for living. It teaches us to reprogram our self-image, to set goals clearly, to embrace failure as feedback, to relax into flow, to practice happiness, break free from false beliefs, to forgive, to unlock creativity, and to consciously write our own success story. At the end of the day, your brain is a goal-seeking missile. Aim it wisely, because whether you aim it at fear or freedom, misery or meaning, your mind will lock on and take you there. So here's my question for you. What target will you set today?